What do you see as the most influential trends in mobile healthcare?
I think the most influential trends in mobile healthcare really have to do with those applications and tools that are focused on using digital sensing and digital tools to create mindfulness. So instead of someone saying, I need to take 200 more steps today to reach my goal, I like to tell people, stop looking at your monitor, your Fitbit or whatever as frequently, and become more mindful of, if you see an elevator, take the stairs, so that you're actually changing your behavior unconsciously towards healthier habits rather than relying on a digital nanny. Because we know that digital nannies tend to be subject to habituation and extinction, and we lose those things that we're trying to achieve by being too responsive to that digital nanny. There are other tools that help us understand how to have a healthy heartbeat, healthy heart rhythm, and that also can help guide us in terms of managing our stress and maintaining our composure and being centered and mindful, that really help lower stress overall, which is one of the fundamental methods of maintaining a high level of health and wellness. The second thing that I think is important is bringing about much more of motivational science and motivational economics into the mobile health ecosystem, so that we actually understand that different people are motivated in different ways. There's been a lot of studies published that have been underwhelming in terms of the benefits of a lot of the mobile health technology. And I think the principal reason for that is that they're being used in relative isolation. And what we need to do is create more of a behavioral symphony of wellness that has the goal of creating personalized motivational tools, and use a motivational formulary that's different for different people, and use motivicons, which are, they could be a video, they could be an in-app reward, they could be a text message, they could be an email, they could be a video visit, they could be a humorous video that motivates you in the way that works for you. But we need to be much more personalized in how we motivate people to achieve their own goals. And I think a lot of the reason that there's some controversy around why is it taking so long to see the real benefits of digital mobile healthcare has to do with the fact that we're taking very simplistic, isolated solutions rather than putting them in the context of a behavioral symphony that is relevant to me, motivates me towards my goals, rather than is directed at a population of people who on average respond in a certain way. So I like to think of using modern technology to restore some of the ancient wisdoms of mindfulness and resilience using personalized motivational tools.
Your focus is on patients. How do professionals in healthcare benefit from mobile health?
Well, I would change the premise of that question a little bit, because I think patient-centric care is an oxymoron. I like to think of taking care of people, because what motivates us in our lives is not just getting a lower blood pressure or getting a better blood sugar. What motivates us in our lives is having more peace in what we do, more gratitude for what we have, more forgiveness for others around us, so that we can actually have a better life experience and lead a longer, healthier life. And so we need to look at the whole person, not that subset of our experience as human beings that we call as a patient. And I believe it's an oxymoron, because patients are what doctors call people. I like to think of person-centric care rather than patient-centric care. Now, setting aside the oxymoron of patient-centric care, how do we motivate and how do we manage the physician side of this physician-person relationship? And I like to say that most physicians are people too. And so they tend to respond to the same kind of motivational tools that non-physicians do. And so what we really need to do is help physicians understand that their goal is not just to lower the blood sugar or just to lower the blood pressure, but it is to create more resilience and a higher level of health and wellness in their patients. And there's a great book called Drive, written by Daniel Pink, which talks about how you motivate people, whether they're physicians or people that physicians are accountable for helping. And in Drive, he breaks it down into 3 levels of motivation: motivation 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Motivation 1.0 is where you use basically the Maslow hierarchy of food, water, air, shelter, sex, very primitive. Motivation 2.0 is carrots and sticks, where you use money and punitive measures for motivation. Motivation 3.0, which is by far and away the most powerful and sustainable, is almost all of us are born with a sense of wanting to make the world a better place, to feel that we have something to contribute, that we're making a difference in our communities, and that we're actually being appreciated for how we apply our skills to improve our communities. And that sense of purpose and that sense of dignity is something that applies not only to the people we treat in the healthcare professions, but applies to us as individuals. And so to the extent that we rely on Motivation 3.0 in Daniel Pink's parlance and help physicians and other healthcare professionals realize their aspirations to make their communities better, to make their individual people they're responsible for healthier and more resilient, it gives them the gratification of knowing that they have purpose and dignity in what they do. And I think a lot of that has been displaced by all the distractions of technology and all the demands being placed upon providers today. And we need to more and more use technology, but put it in the background and use much more human-centered design and restore those very fundamentals of how we as humans help each other out and restore a sense of gratitude, a sense of dignity, a sense of purpose in what we do every day. And that sounds very high and lofty, but in fact, it's really the scientific evidence that Daniel Pink characterizes is profound, that is most motivating and most sustainable for most people.
You seem to have a very positive outlook on healthcare and maybe even mobile healthcare. Do you see this positivity in this conference that you're attending right now?
I absolutely do. I still think that, and I'm seeing that here, but I really think that what we need to create a shift in is, while we're seeing incredible innovation and incredible entrepreneurial solutions, the entrepreneurs themselves need to be much more deeply embedded, not just with the healthcare professionals, but with the patients very early in design, with the people that they're trying to help, with a very much of a human-centered design, so that from the get-go, there's much more of a comprehensive view to create that behavioral symphony of wellness that's required to really motivate people, not with just a narrow slice of their life or a narrow slice of the solution, but more holistically. And we need to think of solutions that are fundamentally based in human values and human aspirations, that are supported by incentive models and organizational structures, and then finally by technology. When we're trying to develop the technology as the lead in healthcare, I think that we're neglecting some of the more important infrastructure that is necessary to be in place for that technology to be successful. So a more holistic view from the ground up of what it is we're trying to achieve and how we achieve it and how we make the technology reinforce those values and objectives is the important part that there's still lots of opportunity to improve on.